What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I am here to make some amends because 1 year ago I dropped this classic predicting the next UFC champion in every division. I mean, this was a great video, dude. People loved this. The top comments about fucking GM3. I even had to drop a like on this. Some of these predictions were gold, man. I picked JDM would be next champion. I said Magomed Ankalaev would be the next light heavyweight champion. I may have also said Brendan Allen would be middleweight champion. I may or may not have said Max Holloway would beat Ilia Topuria by KO. I may or may not have said Tatsuro Taira would be champion. Listen, we all make mistakes, and today I am here with 110% confidence to say who I think will be the next champion of every single weight class, and I'm going to give you my timeline of every weight class and what I think's going to happen, whether the champion loses to somebody or maybe there's some vacated titles, which seems to be a big trend at the moment. I'm going to try and do this as accurately as possible based on everything we know right now. I feel like I can go 100 and I feel like I can go 120% accuracy on this, bro. I feel like I can put up some fucking prime Sean Livingston inside the paint numbers with these predictions. Let's get into this, dude. Starting off in the flyweight division. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let me fix this real quick. Best editor on you. Come on, man. Come on, man. Joshua Van. I'm just riding with the plot armor vibes. I don't care. There is so many technical reasons I could pick Alexandre Pantoja to beat Joshua Van. Pantoja's a great... Mate, Pantoja's a great champion, mate. I'd love to fight him, you know. I'm not denying the greatness of Alexandre Pantoja, but I don't care. Joshua Van has something. What am I looking for? Joshua Van is that thing. He's got the fucking goated takedown defense. He gets better as the fight goes on. His cardio is one of his biggest weapons, which I think is huge, fighting against Alexandre Pantoja. This is not a Tatsuro Taira that has no striking whatsoever and just a little blockhead grappling style. I do want to see Taira and Pantoja grapple at some point in the future. He did a good job of out grappling Brandon Royval. We didn't really see Royval try and wrestle Joshua Van, but we have seen plenty of other people try and do the same. And he has good takedown defense. He builds as fights go on. He touches the body very well with the front kick. I think that's going to be a huge factor. The oblique kicks that he used against Royval, I think those can slow down Pantoja. And I feel like in the boxing, he's going to be so much quicker and so much more accurate than Pantoja. He will have big success. He will piece him up. I feel like there is potential here for him to rock Pantoja on the feet. I don't think anybody can one-shot KO Pantoja just because they're all fucking 20 kilos, you know, soaking wet. But I feel like Joshua Van can actually out-damage Pantoja, defend takedowns, not get physically bullied as much as someone like Brennan Moreno or myself, Steve Ershag, you know what I mean? I think Joshua Van being the same kind of size and build as Pantoja, but a better boxer and a better striker, and having high level, like crazy fucking cardio. We haven't even seen him have to go 5 rounds. He's melting people over 3 rounds. I think this is the guy that I would pick to beat Pantoja. So I'm going to say that Joshua Van does become the next flyweight champion. Whether he beats Pantoja or Pantoja beats him by decision, it's a very close fight. Van has to work his way back up. I think he will be the guy next at flyweight. So I'm going to say my glorious king, Joshua Van, will be the flyweight champion. I know many of you agree with me. Like I said, I fully understand that Pantoja should be the favorite. But I just see a glimmer in this kid's eyes, dude. There's something about this guy that's just so inspirational, so motivational, just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Joshua Van's going to be the flyweight champion. Let's move on to the bantamweight division. And listen, if at first you don't succeed, just put Umar Nurmagomedov again as bantamweight champion. Hey, I did this last year. I don't give a fuck. I'm standing on business. Umar is the only guy I think can beat Merab. I said it. I know that his stock is at like an all-time low. I know the meme pick is like, oh, Mario Batista. 2023 bedtime would have literally put Mario Batista here without flinching. 2023 meme might have even put fucking Sean O'Malley here. Been like, dude, in the trilogy, man. I don't know, man. In the trilogy's just gonna get him. I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. I think Umar did the best against Merab. Maybe the first O'Malley fight for Merab was harder. I don't know. If you want to get down into the details, Umar rocked Merab. He was able to take him down in moments. He was able to get back up from takedowns. He just gassed out from the pace once it got to like round 4 and 5. It really started to wear on him. And I feel like he just got bitched in that fight. So I feel like if Umar Nurmagomedov just maybe bulks up a little bit or changes his approach a little bit, I think he can beat Merab. I don't think it's ridiculous to say Umar could have beat Merab that first time. It was a very close fight. 3 rounds to 2 in favor of Merab. And even then, I feel like there's some moments that the emoting of Merab, hey guys, whoa, look at all the lights in the arena, guys, it's so good. Khabib's just crashing out in the corner. I feel like if Merab doesn't emote in that fight, he maybe loses a split decision. So I think that, of course, people are going to be, dude, Merab fucking dominated him, bro. Shut the fuck up, bro. You're coping, bro. Literally does not. I'm not a Umar fan whatsoever. I don't want either of these two to be champion. I would love to see Piotr Jan or fucking Corey Nerdhagen or even Sean O'Malley be champion. But being objective here, I think Merab and Umar, these are the two best bantamweights right now in terms of how well-rounded they are. And I think Umar is the only guy I would be like, you know what? I could see him beating Merab. So I'm going to say Umar is the next bantamweight champion. And because he's younger as well, like Mario Batista, I don't think he beats Umar. I'm going to be honest. I think Mario Batista is going to lose to Umar. But Umar also has the fact that Merab, I believe he's 33 or 34. So he only has to wait like a year and a half. He's still not even 30 years old yet. So I feel like Umar, or maybe he just turned 30. I think Umar has that going for him as well, where when Merab gets randomly chinny and dog shit at like 35 years old, boom, here comes Umar to be the champion. So I'm going to say Umar will be the next bantamweight champion. And if that doesn't cause a mass fucking... bro, a mass unwatching of the sport, wait till you hear this next one. Featherweight division. Brother, Movsar, so good, brother. He's best in featherweight division, brother. Let's go, Movsar. Let's go. Listen, man. I said it in my Nightmare Champions video that this guy would literally make people stop watching the sport. I believe that, dude. I think this would be a big anchoring of the featherweight division, where if this guy beats Volk somehow, like flukes a KO over him or fucking, manages to smudge him to a boring decision, I think people would genuinely tune out of the sport in droves. But I think Movsar is the best contender right now. I think he beats Diego Lopez. I think he beats Lerone Murphy. He already beat Aljamain Sterling. I think he absolutely fucking destroys Yair Rodriguez. And as for Volk as the champion, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'm gonna keep it a buck here. I'm a Volk Glazer. I was kind of worried that Diego Lopez was gonna get fucking finished by Gene Silva, and we were gonna realize like, oh man, Volk is actually very old and like got one fight left. But that Lerone Murphy, sorry, the what's the guy's name? Gene Silva fight has actually aged so fucking well. The Diego Lopez win has actually aged so well for Volkanovski. He literally put on a 49-46 borderline masterclass, except for his chin. So I feel like Volk is going to beat Lerone Murphy. I think Lerone Murphy will be getting a title shot. That bro's trying to be Leon Edwards to the T. He's probably going to try and throw up a head kick or a spinning elbow in round 5. I think Volk is going to beat Lerone Murphy. Honestly, I maybe Lerone Murphy plot armors his way through it with the red shorts. Listen, it's entirely possible. To quote the great Joe Rogan, I think Volk's going to beat Lerone Murphy. I think it's going to be a somewhat boring fight, but Volk tries to make it a little bit exciting. Lerone Murphy, it's kind of like a Max Holloway, Arnold Allen type situation, if you guys remember that fight, where we were kind of worried about Max's chin maybe, or how he would look after losing so bad to Volk, and kind of being frozen out of the title picture. And I think that, Volk, maybe he has a bad moment here and there. He starts out a little bit slow, but then for the most part, is just quicker, just a little bit better, just a little bit sharper than Lerone Murphy, physically bullies him with the wrestling. I think that we get Volkanovski retiring after he beats Lerone Murphy. And I think for the vacant belt, it will be Movsar Evloev versus Diego Lopez. 5 rounds for the vacant belt. And I would pick Movsar to win that fight, dude. I feel like Lopez has improved, but I feel like Movsar is always going to be just a little bit better in terms of stylistically. And also Movsar is actually really good as well. Like, people hate on Movsar, but he is actually really good and really well-rounded. I think that it's going to be hard for Lopez to sub him. He was trying his little heart out. He was making that grunty little, oh my god, let me fluke a sub over this guy face. He couldn't fucking do it. And in the striking, Evloev pieced him up, dude. He got rocked in the first round, but then he pieced up Lopez, rocked him a couple of times, nearly finished him with ground and pound. I know that it was short notice, but it was short notice matchup for both of those guys. And I feel like if Evloev actually is prepared to fight Lopez for 5 rounds, I think he has better cardio, he has better defense, he's not going to get hit as much, and I think he's going to out-wrestle and avoid the submissions of Lopez. So I would say that Lopez maybe rocks Evloev at some point, like maybe get some good position, cuts him up with elbows. But I think Evloev is not going to just spaz out like fucking Gene Silva. I think he would mix in his boxing, land his jab, mix in takedowns, control him, win a decision for the belt, land some ground and pound, maybe hurt him with some ground and pound, almost get a finish. And I think it would be an entertaining 5-round fight. I would pick Evloev. So I'm going to say, in short, to summarize the yap here, I know that was a lot to digest, all right? Volkanovski fights Lerone Murphy in December, beats him by close decision, retires on top as the featherweight GOAT. Jose Baldo, I'm sorry, brother, your time is up, right? You had a good run. It's over. Volk's the fucking GOAT. That's it, That's it. At the end of the day, that it is what it is. That's what it is, So Volk retires, and for the vacant belt in January or February, maybe in Mexico, Diego Lopez versus Movsar Evloev, 5 rounds for the vacant featherweight title. I think that is what happens, and I think Evloev wins that fight. So he's my pick as the next featherweight champion, but he doesn't get to fight Volk because he's been out for fucking 10 years at this point. Let's move on. Speaking of which, to the lightweight division. Nothing is fucking happening in this division, dude. There is literally nothing happening. And just in general with the UFC, the biggest news story of this week has been Dana White and Ariel Helwani squashed the beef? Are you fucking kidding me? There's no UFC for a week, and the biggest story is Dana White on the Nelk Bros Let's Get Sandy podcast. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Regardless, there's nothing going on in the UFC, and there's absolutely nothing going on in the lightweight division. So it's very hard to say who's fighting for the belt next. What do I think Ilya's going to do? I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here and say Arman Tsarukyan will be the next lightweight champion. I don't think he fights Ilya. I'm just going to say that I don't think he's going to beat Ilya. I don't think he's going to fight Ilya at all. This division is so hard to fucking predict because Ilya deadass thinks he's fighting Bud Crawford, bro. Ilya is deadass trying to make this Crawford fight happen. First and foremost, I agree with Lucas Tracy. Nobody gives a fuck. I guarantee you nobody cares, all right? I will illegally watch that for sure, but no, we're not, oh my God, man, whoa, this is generational, You're not Conor, bro. You're not Conor, dog. Fight for the lightweight belt, defend your belt. We're not trying to see that shit. But Ilya's very unpredictable, so I feel like this is what's going to happen with the lightweight division. If I had to predict, I would say Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, or Arman Tsarukyan versus Paddy Pimblett gets made for the main event of UFC Qatar in November, which is starting to look like a really good card. I think Arman Tsarukyan, let's say he fights Dan Hooker. Arman Tsarukyan, I think he KOs Dan Hooker in November. And then in January, it's announced that the first Paramount huge, holy fuck, this is going to be on CBS. This is a huge fight card. I think the main event will be Ilya versus Max 2 or Ilya versus Gaethje. That's what I think. I think in November, we get Arman versus Dan Hooker. And January, we get Ilya versus Max or Gaethje. Max seems to be in training camp for something. So it might be Max Holloway, honestly. Or maybe he's just recovering from injury. I don't know. I know he's not fighting again this year. That's why I'm feeling like maybe January, we get Ilya versus Max 2 for the lightweight belt. And after that, I don't know about you. I don't see Ilya going, yeah, give me Fiziev next. Give me fucking... yeah, Paddy Pimblett. Let me just wait for Paddy Pimblett to beat Charles Oliveira or wait for him to beat Justin Gaethje, who's not going to fight anybody. You know what I mean? I don't see Ilya doing that. Ilya, I feel like he just wants big legacy fights. And I can't say I blame him. I don't feel like anyone is like, dude, Ilya versus Arman, bro. Dude, like, I want to see that as a hardcore MMA fan, but I can understand the UFC rather being like, let's try and get Ilya versus Islam if he loses to JDM. When he loses to JDM, all right? So I feel like Ilya is going to fight Gaethje or Max in January, slime them out, vacate the belt, and chase Islam Makhachev up to 170, or go and try and fight Terence Crawford, something like that. And I think for a vacant belt, we get Arman versus Paddy Pimblett or Arman versus Rafael Fiziev if he beats Charles Oliveira. That's what I think, and I would pick Arman to win both of those fights. So, in conclusion, Ilya slimes out somebody in January on a huge CBS card. Arman comes back in November, beats Dan Hooker, is the number one contender, wants a title shot. We don't get Ilya versus Arman. Ilya's focused on fighting Islam or Terence Crawford, and we get Arman versus Fiziev or Paddy for the vacant belt. And I think Arman wins that. So that is unfortunate. I hate that this is what the UFC is kind of becoming, dude. I hate that this shit is literally becoming boxing, where it's like, well, these guys obviously won't fight each other. It's like, fuck you. That's the whole reason we're into this sport, is because it's like, no, fuck you. You guys fight each other. But regardless, I feel like that is the way things play out more and more nowadays, where it's like, oh no, I'm going to vacate and go chase this fight. No, I don't want this guy. I want to fight that guy, you know? I don't know. So I feel like I would love to be wrong and we get Ilya versus Armin and Ilya genuinely loses to somebody like, you know, Paddy Pimblett. That would be the fucking funniest outcome. But I think he's just going to leave the belt and retire soon, or fight a big money fight and dip. And I think Armin's going to get the vacant belt. So let's move on to the welterweight division, where we don't have to worry about that shit. We don't have to worry about the champion. Oh, picking and choosing. Oh, I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. Who's Joe? Who's Joe? We got a fucking champion that will fight anybody and beat him by a fucking split decision, all right, dude? JDM's not losing the fucking belt. I don't give a fuck, dude. I was literally training today, and I was wearing my JDM training gear, which is just such a funny statement. And the guy I'm training with goes, oh, are you JDM fan? I said, oh, you know, a little bit. Little does this guy know I'm the biggest JDM glazer on the fucking planet, dude. Just chopping it up with the JDM team here and there. You know how it is. JDM's not fucking losing to anybody. I'm not getting on a video and saying, oh, I think this guy beats my glorious King JDM, who's going to fucking defend all his takedowns, get back up, piece him up on the feet. I think he beats Islam Makhachev in a war by decision. And I think next he gets either Shavkat Rakhmonov or Kamaru Usman. I think he wins those fights. I think the Usman fight is a little bit difficult, but Usman's striking is not that good. I think Islam is a way better boxer than Kamaru Usman. Just doesn't hit as hard, but he's way more technically sound. He has good kicks. I think Usman has better like wrestling and physicality. He'll just shoot a double leg and take you down. But I don't think that's enough to beat JDM. I think JDM will get back up and will defend takedowns and will outdamage Usman, especially being the younger man. I think if I had to say anybody to be the next welterweight champion when my GOAT JDM is literally about to become the actual greatest of this division, I would say I could see Sean Brady doing it. I think Sean Brady is like a mix of all the things that you need to beat JDM. And I also think that JDM, when he beats Islam Makhachev and maybe Shavkat or Usman, I think that Sean Brady will become very overlooked. Like, I think people will start to kind of switch up and pretend like they were always on the JDM train. You know, these people will literally go from, dude, Bilal's gonna destroy him, bro, blah, 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 Brady fucking smokes this guy, Leon beats JDM. All these, genuinely, people were saying all of this. By the way, people literally say this shit all the time. I think once he beats Islam Makhachev, all of a sudden, if they make JDM versus Brady, it'll be like, oh, but if JDM can defend takedowns from Islam, Brady's going to have nothing for him. And, you know, oh, this guy got KO'd by Bilal Muhammad. He's supposed to beat JDM. You know what I mean? I think Brady actually is very, very dangerous. And I know I've said in videos that I think he's a little bit overrated, but he proved me wrong against Leon Edwards. I loved watching this guy ping around Mumblemouth and force him to shoot fucking shitty takedowns and give it. Come on, Leon. What you doing, man? You got to fucking throw a punch, man. What you doing, Leon? It was great to watch. He made a fan out of me with that shit. I think that Sean Brady has a good chance against my boy JDM as the leading authority. I think Sean Brady has the physicality of a true welterweight. He's, you know, very high output, very high pressure. He's improved his cardio. He can scramble. He's not just relying on holding you down. And he really does have submissions. Like, he really can finish you with a head and arm choke or a guillotine or a DAS. I think he has a good mix of what makes Islam and Usman and guys like that dangerous for someone like JDM. But I also feel like the body work could maybe slow him down. And I think maybe we could see like two fights, like JDM versus Brady. Brady wins the first one by a close decision. Then we get a rematch. I could definitely see that happening. So I will say I'm not picking anybody definitively to beat my GOAT JDM. But if I had to pick one next, I would say Sean Brady could be the next champion. All right. Let's move on to the middleweight division. And this is another very hard one because I'm not like, bro, who the fuck is beating Hamza, bro? Who is beating him? There's literally like the two guys that and I will say this. You guys asked for my opinion on Brendan Allen versus Rainier Derrida Blockhead Mania, the biggest blockhead fight we've ever gotten. And the winner will 110% get to fight Dricus in the biggest money fight in blockhead history. You guys are asking me my opinion on this. I'm kind of glad in one way that we don't get to see Hernandez versus Rainier Derrida. Obviously, I'm way more excited for that fight than I ever will be for Bren Al getting in there against fucking Rainier Derrida. But I will say this, dude. I'm glad that we get to see both of them potentially fight for the belt. I was kind of sad, like, oh man, either Fluffy or Rainier Dorita is not going to get a title shot. They're going to have to wait a while. You know, that to me was, that, you know, that don't sit well with me, you know, that don't sit well with me. But now, we get to see Rainier Dorita versus Hamzat at some point, in my opinion. And we also get to see Hernandez versus Hamzat at some point. And I think both of those guys have the best chance. Fluffy's getting Fluffy's getting the fucking belt, dude. Dude, Fluffy's next champion, bro. Fluffy fucking smokes Drickers, dude. What are you talking about, bro? Name 3 of his wins? I don't give a fuck, dude. He's really beating Drickers, bro. I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm a Mexican casual. I'm picking Hernandez. Hernandez is the only guy I genuinely feel like, you know what, he just might get this done against Hamzat. Because I think this is what's going to happen at middleweight. Imavov will be getting the title shot very, very soon. Probably just February, maybe March. We get Imavov versus Chimaev for the middleweight title. I think Chimaev wins that. I think Rainier Dorita beats Brendan Allen. It's a goofy matchup. It's a great fight. Rainier Dorita has to fight DDP next to get a title shot. And in the meantime, I think Hernandez will sneak his way back in and get a win over like Adesanya or Strickland and get a title shot. And I think he has the best chance against Chimaev. I think he has the cardio, he has the scrambling, he has the grappling. He can box on the feet. I think his weakness is calf kicks, which Chimaev doesn't really throw. I think he will get in Chimaev's face and almost like invite the grappling and look for those guillotines like Drickers was doing, except I don't see him just conceding side control and the crucifix. I think Hamzat will fight a little bit differently and a little bit more on the back foot against Hernandez. And I feel like if Hernandez really makes Hamzat work, which he said he will, and I believe him, even just landing elbows in little exchanges in close, I think Hernandez is actually the type of guy that could pull off like a round 5 submission. Like a round 4, round 5, locks up a DAS choke or some shit like that. People can't fucking believe, like a Juliana Pena Nunes type win. And I hate to bring up the GOAT, Juliana Pena, when I'm talking about Anthony Hernandez, one of my favorite fighters, but hopefully that makes sense, right? Dricus almost got that against Chimaev in round 5. He had a face crank. He almost got him. So I feel like there is potential here for a Anthony Hernandez round 5 DAS choke or a round 5 guillotine or some shit like that. I think Hernandez is the next middleweight champion. I think he's going to somehow pull this off. I will not be picking him, but remember I said this so that I kind of get the points either way. That's kind of my strategy here. So he's my pick for the next middleweight champion. I believe in Hernandez. I know people are going to switch up on him now. They just became fans of him, and now they're going to switch up again because he pulled out of a fight. But regardless, I'm still Team Fluffy to the day that I die. To the day that I fucking die, dude. All right? He's my pick for middleweight. Next up, light heavyweight division. This is where the theories go. I'm sure you can see this happening, right? Welterweight down to flyweight, very logical picks. Very, very logical picks. Anthony Hernandez, that's a little bit outside the box, but I think most people would agree it's Rainier Dorita or it's Anthony Hernandez. Light heavyweight and heavyweight, I'm shooting fucking half-court shots, dude. I'm shooting a Jordan Poole. Soon as I cross the line, I'm splashing that shit. It's either going in or it's airball. I don't care. I'm shooting my shot. I've got theories here. I need you to hear me out on these, okay? I need you to hear me out on these. Light heavyweight division, who's the next champion? It's not Alex Pereira. Shama. It's not Carlos Ulberg. Bro, Ulberg by knockout G. Yeah, Ulberg's so good, bro. He's better than Izzy, bro. It's not going to be fucking Ulberg, all right? It's not going to be fucking Khalil. I think I am next champions, and let's go for that. I am picking Yuri Prohaska as the next light heavyweight champion. I think he has the perfect style to beat Magomed Ankalaev, who does hit hard, who is a very, very good boxer. Very good kicks, good defense, great wrestling, good clinch game, right? Yuri Prohaska, in my opinion, has the style to make Magomed Ankalaev get in a scrap, and I think he's going to beat Khalil in a fucking war, like a round 3 TKO against Khalil. I think Yuri, when it comes to what does he bring to the table that maybe Alex Pereira or Ulberg doesn't bring against Ankalaev, I'm looking at the cardio, the ability to push the pace and make things scrappy, the ability to fight in dangerous exchanges, like not being patient, like being like improved his defense a little bit, but just being able to get in a fucking scrap and make you fight and land big shots. He has big power. He has great survivability. Even if he gets rocked badly, he can survive. And I think that he also has very good grappling and submissions. He has a great ability to get back up from takedowns. He can mix in takedowns if he needs to. We've seen him reverse position against really good grapplers like Glover Teixeira. Even Dominic Reyes got great takedowns against him, and Prohaska was able to reverse those positions, get back up. Prohaska is very good at scrambling and getting into damaging positions or getting submissions. And I feel like against Magomed Ankalaev, he's going to get in his face, autism his way through, and let's go. I bring Big Storm, and I also bring guys from my village, crazy guys. Let's go for that. Get hit with some big bombs, maybe get rocked, force Ankalaev to get in a scrap, start attacking the legs, make Ankalaev wrestle, grapple a little bit, and I think that we're going to see a round 3 or round 4 come from behind submission from Yuri Prohaska. Pause. Major pause. I would say Yuri Prohaska by submission would be what I would pick against Ankalaev. I think the first 2 rounds, he gets fucking pieced up, kind of like the Rakic fight. But then he starts to walk through and, find his flow state, make Ankalaev miss, defend the grappling, get those sweeps and trips, force grappling exchanges, and either get a rear naked choke or a guillotine, something like that. I think Yuri Prohaska could pull off a comeback submission win against Ankalaev, make the pace really crazy, gas him out a little bit, take some big shots that are usually, fight-ending sequences, or, they rock you and they make you a little bit more patient like Pereira in that fight against Ankalaev. I don't think that happens to Yuri, so I think Yuri actually has a really good style to beat Ankalaev. Obviously, there's a chance that he just gets fucking destroyed in the first 2 rounds with the kickboxing of Ankalaev because he's so fucking good. But I don't give a fuck, dude. Yuri Prohaska, in my opinion, has the best chance. I'm going to say he's the next light heavyweight champion. And the final one in the heavyweight division, the question really comes down to not, who do I think is the next best guy? Who do I think, is the guy to beat us? Who would I pick to who do I think? I'm not going to pick any of these guys to beat Aspinall, but who do I think could realistically fluke a win over Tom Aspinall? That's really what it comes down to, okay? I'm going to pick fucking Sergey Pavlovich, dude. I think Sergey Pavlovich could be this could be like the Cain Velasquez JDS trilogy for Tom Aspinall. I think that the heavyweight division for the next couple of years is just going to be a rotation of people that Aspinall's already beat, seeing what they can change and think what can they do better against him. I think Volkov should get the title shot next instead of Gane, but regardless, the Almeida fight is super interesting. I really don't know who I'm going to pick in that. I think both of those guys, I wouldn't pick them to beat Tom Aspinall. I think Almeida is interesting, but I don't really know how he's going to go off his back. I feel like he is the type of guy where maybe the Blades loss is like a red herring and he actually is the guy to beat Tom Aspinall. But I don't know. I feel like when I look at that and I look at the speed and the striking and the power of Tom Aspinall and the grappling, I think he could beat Jailton Almeida via ground and pound TKO. I think Volkov maybe does better on the feet, but he's not quick. His takedown defense still isn't really that good. And I think if Aspinall puts him on his back, he's going to submit him again. I think Pavlovich is like the JDS to Aspinall's Cain Velasquez. I know that JDS won the first fight, but what I mean is no one's picking JDS to beat Cain Velasquez. Like on paper, Cain Velasquez beats JDS. I feel like Pavlovich is really the only guy that has a solid chance to just bomb a fucking right hand on Tom Aspinall and drop him and get like an early stoppage finish, or just drop him bad, get a finish. He did rock him in the first fight and then Aspinall KO'd him. I feel like we could see a trilogy where Tom Aspinall gets, caught on the chin in the second fight and no one's really expecting Pavlovich to win. Boom, he beats Tom Aspinall, maybe KOs him. People are like, holy fuck, is Aspinall washed? Trilogy, Tom Aspinall beats the fuck out of him, maybe takes him down, gets a ground and pound TKO, bloodies him up. That is really, to me, the most likely outcome. It's either somehow Pavlovich flukes a KO or Jailton Almeida is actually secretly the guy, but I don't know. So I'm just going to pick Pavlovich. I know it's a theory that not many people would say, but this is my theories on who I think and my predictions, and I feel very good about these predictions, except maybe the Pavlovich one, on who I think is the next champion of every single division. Let me know your picks in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 100K. We're trying to get to 100K. I really don't know what video to do for 100K when we get there. I know we're still a little bit off, but it looks like it may happen before the end of the year. Let me know what you guys want for 100K. I'll do a long ass video. I'll do like an hour-long video, whatever the fuck you want. We could do an iceberg. We could do a Q&A. I could get on face cam, you know what I'm saying? We could do a training video. Whatever the fuck you guys want, let me know in the comments. But I appreciate all the support lately, boys. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video, man. Goodbye.